At Your End Step is brought to you by Comic Town and BCW Supplies. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And Dave.
What's up?
And we have another fun-filled episode for you folks today. Before we get started, though, I do want to make sure everyone is well aware that we did launch our Patreon successfully. I definitely have some patrons already, and very excited to see that. And we are actually having a giveaway right now for a BCW Supplies folio. So it has, you could basically, it's sort of the wider folios. You can actually store like a playset of cards across it. And, definitely something that we want to give away to our listeners. And it is something that's going to be up for another day, I believe. I believe it's going to be ending this Friday. That'll be the 23rd?
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be ending, I think, on the 23rd. And, you definitely want to make sure you get there, sign up, and there's multiple ways to entry, and there you can enter yourself multiple times per day. So definitely check that out. And you can find the link to the giveaway on our Patreon, and that is just www.patreon.com/atyourendstep. So definitely check it out. Also via our other social media, so Twitter and Facebook. You can also find the link there. So let's jump into the show here, because we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, we had the rest of announcement week. So we have Wednesday through Friday's announcements, or what have you. Because Fridays was just Hour of Devastation spoilers, pretty much. Given to us, and that was the giant card game, right?
That was either Friday or Saturday. I don't know.
I think it was Friday.
That was the thing.
That was the thing that actually happened.
Yeah.
So let's go with Wednesday. Wednesday's kind of the big chunk. That was set announcement day. So we had our first look at Ixalan, and it's going to be pirates and dinosaurs.
Yeah. The first art they released has Vraska on a pirate ship looking onto a shore where a warrior of some kind is riding a dinosaur. And I want you to know, because they made mention of this in interviews this weekend, historically accurate dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're feathered dinosaurs.
So they're feathered. That is cool. And some of the other art that we've seen, that they released, also seem to show sort of a Mesoamerican building structure.
Yeah.
So this feels like this is kind of Pirates of the Caribbean, the set.
Yes.
Complete with its own Davy Jones. Davy Jones had tentacles on his beard. Vraska's got snakes on her hair. It's just you flip their face upside down. It's the same thing.
It's like one of those visual optical illusions. What do you see here? Do you see a vase or an old man?
I see I see a Gorgon fighting dinosaurs. Okay, we're gonna commit you.
Yeah.
So
you're a bit crazy. So
I thought there were no wrong answers. No, that's the wrong one. That is actually the wrong one.
Actually, there wasn't until you said that, and then I was like, actually, there is.
I got scared. Got real scared.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix for sure.
I'm excited though. The pirate theme, we literally have only a couple pirates. Granted, we have pirates in Kaladesh, so we had air pirates, but I want real ones on the seas.
We haven't had pirates since what? Mercadian Masks?
Yes, Mercadian Masks, yeah.
The Rishadan pirates.
Oh, wait. You think Rishadan Port? No, we're not going to.
No.
I do want to. So, I have a lore question. I don't know if either of you can answer, but it confuses me. So, we go to these different planes. I've asked before, are these planes planets? We know that some of them have. They have suns, they have stars, which are scientifically round.
Yeah.
Can we assume that a plane is round? Planes aren't generally.
Are we doing flat plane theory here?
Well, if you remember Theros, you could literally go off the edge of the Earth into where Crewfix was. You could go off the edge. So, can you sail around as a pirate and just go up end of the plane? Ah!
So,
or do you Truman Show hit the edge?
I don't know. It's probably a plane by plane basis, right?
I guess
because you have Dominaria, and Dominaria definitely has defined continents, right? Because we had different.
And so did Zendikar has defined continents,
right? So
I assume that's round. I don't know. Did you ever read A Wrinkle in Time?
I've heard of it.
So they do a little bit of planeswalking, and one of them they literally go to a 2D plane, and they're they can't move and they're confused. And I feel like that's gonna happen one of these times. Jace just oh god, and that's it. That's how you die. So hopefully our pirates do not go off the edge of the world.
But I mean, I do think that
was actually a plot thing in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean's movie, wasn't it?
yeah, the World's
Pretty
Edge
sure.
or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whoops.
And then what happened is you went over the World's Edge, and then you were underwater sailing.
Oh, so
That's
they,
what it
they go to
is.
the edge
That's the
and
next
oh do 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 do
Yeah.
do 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 do.
You just start over. It's fine. But I think there's a lot of like wish fulfillment.
Sorry, they went upside down, and that's how Vraska becomes Davy Jones.
Yeah, there you go. You did it. You figured it out. But I think there's a lot of wish fulfillment. People like pirates. Obviously, they're still pretty popular. People like dinosaurs. Like people have just been asking like for all these things in Magic, and they're like, we did it.
Yeah,
All of
sure,
them.
whatever. We'll just throw it all
I
in
use
here.
At once.
I use my wife as like the temper for this, and I was like, so I showed her the picture. I'm like, this is Pirates of Dinosaurs. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. Like, I can get into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did say, and a lot of people said this. It does remind her of WoW, though. It feels a little Ungoro crater,
Yeah.
which is awkward, but like
I saw a lot of jokes going around of people like that. I'm like,
I mean, Ungoro crater is just Jurassic Park, so I don't know what to tell you guys. Like no one has like the jungle dinosaurs
yeah,
on lockdown.
and like Hearthstone recently had like their last set was Journey to Ungoro. So
Sure,
like,
but like
it's just like a bunch of
The developments
coincidences.
is like we could, you know what, they both stole from Dinotopia, so let's go there first. Or how about the Flintstones? They stole from that. You know what I mean? So whatever.
Yeah, you're never gonna like be able to have. It's just like awkward because there's just like some sort of like thunder stealing as far as that goes. But
So the dinosaur is going to be the vehicles. Like,
I crew my
so
raptor.
if we have vehicles, are we going to have like raptors you can ride, like a T-Rex with laser beams?
yeah, clearly. Oh no, that's next. That's like Magic 2050 is the popular image of dinosaurs equipped with lasers shooting each other.
Yeah, we're good.
That's actually what is in the far flung future. So just
Okay.
just be aware of that. Just be aware. So we also have, Rivals of Ixalan is going to be the second set. Ixalan is going to be the first set. And then we also have Explorers of Ixalan, which is going to be like an out of the box multiplayer Magic experience. And that's kind of where they left it. We don't quite know what this is going to be, but I imagine like similar to what they did with like Arch Enemy, how it's just like a one
or
box
like
thing.
the Plane Chase anthology. something like
Yeah,
that,
exactly. So that'll be kind of interesting to see what that is like. There's going to be another art book. It's going to be from Ixalan, so they're continuing with that trend. So if you need another coffee table art book, there you go. It'll be coming out. They also announced the next dual decks, I guess,
Yep.
which is going to be Merfolk versus Goblins. Now, I guess traditionally this is where they would have like preview cards for the next set in them, but I don't know if they actually are still doing that or not. So who knows? It makes sense that we assume that Merfolk will be on Ixalan, just because of the leaked packaging that we saw had what seemed to be Merfolk on them.
So
If that holds true, then
when it was still called like what?
Atlasan.
Atlasan.
So can we talk about how ridiculous Merfolk versus Goblins is? This is the old DC Batman versus Aquaman, right? Where Aquaman's like floating out in the surf, and he's like, "Come out here, man! Come on out!"
Who has the home field advantage in this? Because
Wherever
they're
they're
gonna be
at,
heavy favorites.
Goblins don't swim.
What about what's the pinger? Like,
Oh yeah, the Razorfin Hunter.
Yeah,
that's
what
like
about
Goblin.
him?
Both. He's just like, guys, why are you fighting?
conflicted.
It's literally the Hatfield McCoys, and the Razorfin Hunter's like, "Daddy, no, I love him."
why can't we be friends? Clearly, two of you were friends enough to make me. I'm an horrible abomination.
I like that. I like it. It's aware. Like, I'm an abomination. Take one. Sometimes I ping myself just to feel.
But to be fair, like there's already been a goblins deck. There's already been elves versus goblins. But there are a lot of good cards in those tribes that they could reprint. A lot of good lords or things that affect all goblins and or merfolk. So
Yeah, this is a good place to get something like Curse Catcher, a few more copies. It's some like double-digit price still. So
Silver Galata.
Yeah.
All these. The
Random
uncommons
stuff.
are like absurd price wise. Yeah.
stuff they probably aren't reprinting if they do Merfolk in Ixalan.
yeah. We also have the next From the Vault.
Yeah, from the vault. LOL.
From the Vault Transform. And based on how this was announced, it's not like there's going to be like a bunch of things that like transform magic, like hey, morph cards and like the Kamigawa flip cards, stuff like that. No, it's just double-sided cards, just 15 20-sided cards. So what it is it's what
Jace Friends Prodigy.
so it's Huntmaster,
Yeah.
and then 4 of the flip walkers. We don't need Chandra, but they're just reprinted. You have 3 copies of each, so that's how you get to
nice.
15.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's 3 Huntmaster.
Yeah, like
3
I like
Jace.
what Hinterland Logger. Like
No, I mean people have like obviously.
Chalice of Life and Death.
I'm back in.
What?
I was out, now I'm back in.
Like you don't have a million foil copies of that card.
I only have
right?
9. Okay, I only have 9 foil copies of that
He
card.
needs
Don't
another
ask me
one.
why.
So you want a really garbagey foil copy
Do
of it?
you know why I have 9 of those copies? Because my wife was supposed to make me a 3D flip side one yet, and she still hasn't done it. I've had them for 2 years. Silence your phone, Katie, if we're going to be in the room while we podcast. Our viewers will need to hear your dings.
We're trying to be professionals here.
Time to be professional. Sorry.
Gonna be professional. Yeah. So this is like super lame. Why are they? Why are they doing this?
On,
The best
because
joke-
they're running out of things to do with it. It's the same reason they stopped doing the Masterpiece series.
Just stop it then.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
But the best thing I've seen from this is they finally found a way to figure out the foil curling problem and just make them put double sided foils.
Oh, they'll pull on both sides and suck back in.
Yeah,
the middle.
exactly. They'll
Yeah.
be fine. That's a good joke. And then we are actually going to be going to Dominaria. And so the set after Ixalan is just going to be called Dominaria, not Return to Dominaria. And on Twitter, I saw that there was a point to not saying Return to Dominaria. And I'm not exactly sure what that point is to be made, but I think Kelly Diggs made that point on Twitter. Like, it was very pertinent that we're not returning. And maybe it's because we've never, been to, just this is Dominaria.
Yeah, so because Dave and I were actually talking about this last night, and I said, I think it's been so long that a lot of players in the game will only have heard of Dominaria because of older sets. They just do not
Right.
know. Their only example of Dominaria recently would have been Liliana's origin story.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense to call it Dominaria, and then the next time would be possibly Return to Dominaria.
Yeah.
But it also fits with the new naming theme of sets, they're naming the sets after their planes. So that all makes sense. Also, Richard Garfield's on the design team for that.
He
so
certainly is.
We're all going home, guys. We're all going home.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting to see. The sort of the father of Magic come back and put in some design work on.
Speaking of the father,
a very nostalgic set.
can we get some Karn? Can we get some Karn on Dominaria?
Speaking of the father.
I mean, I'm down with that. I obviously what's Koth doing. I miss him.
He's not there though.
I understand. I want him to be somewhere, man.
I want Karn to have been working on Dominaria on making a zombie Venser. I'm making a new heart to put back into him. He's had his body this whole time. Like Mr. Freeze, he froze Venser. It is I'm gonna find you a cure.
He's waiting for the technology to catch up so he can reanimate him.
And then lastly, we are going to be getting another unset. We're getting Unstable this year, December 8th. So, towards the end of the year, but still this year. And I mean, I've never been around for an unset release. So
I will be this. I enjoyed it the last time I did it. It's been a long time since I did it, but it makes for some it is fun if you have a large group of people doing it. You do it once and you never care again, but it's fun.
I think more people are excited about what kind of sweet lands we're going to get.
Obviously. We've been a bit spoiled by full art lands in recent sets, so I'm excited to see what they look like. Obviously, the other ones have been very different from anything full art beforehand. I hope they don't decide to stick with the basic sort of template we have for current full art lands. I don't expect.
I would
them
actually be okay with them going back to the first, actually unglued. Those are sweet.
I really enjoy those.
Yeah.
Those are to me, those are really classic, and that was really the first time they branched out and did it.
Yeah, the unhinged ones are obviously sweet because of the way they are, and because John Avon is obviously awesome. I would love to see them go back to the unglued one and really give you the sweet throwback with some new art. Man, who's the most excited for this set though? Let's be honest. Spark Rosewater.
Yeah, Spark Rosewater.
You watched the release video? He was like screaming about it.
Working on it since like 2011 or something like that, or even earlier. I forget what the actual number was, but for years. So it makes me excited. And apparently there was only one card that actually went from silver border to black border. And we haven't seen it yet, but they apparently stole a card from the onset, which is kind of crazy.
Wow. She stands alone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, but I wonder, like I was thinking about, like, I wonder where they were in design and like what references like they could actually make to outside the game. Because I don't know if like I haven't actually looked at every card and every unset, but I don't know like what kind of if they made any like social commentary jokes or anything like that. Or it's mainly just like internal jokes.
Yeah,
with
like
the cards.
they'll make like references.
Like
they'll make like pop culture references, but never anything like super topical. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, there's like Elvish. There's like the Elvis reference. You know, it's like
Yeah,
Elvis
that kind of- it
something.
gets all
So-
goofy.
So like universal stuff as
Yes,
well.
yes.
So something
Like,
that's timeless.
you had the whole. Sorry, Morgan. You had the whole ass theme in the
Yeah.
last one, which was all donkeys. And
Yeah,
you
it's
had
all donkeys, that's fine.
Chickens was the first one, I think. Like there were tons of chicken ones.
Yeah, I think squirrels is going to be the focus.
I would
because
assume that too.
the set symbol is a wrench with an acorn for the socket. Basically.
I also hope that the last time they did this, they also had like they definitely had an art theme, like an artist theme, and I think they could do that again, and that'd be fun. So like circle of protection art.
I just really want an underground dojo keyboard cage fighter card, which obviously probably not the case, but would be hilarious.
Yeah, I doubt they'll touch that.
No, obviously not, but I think it would be choice.
So we skipped one, Morgan.
Oh yes, the 25th anniversary edition Master set is actually going to be a thing that'll be happening. This is different than Iconic Masters. So just a bunch of Master sets this year, apparently.
25th anniversary Master is cool though. They said it's going to have at least one card from every set,
Yes, and this is actually going to be in 2018. So
which makes me sad because like there's like a Homelands card in there. But like, what are you going to do?
But there were like Autumn Willow is like kind of an iconic card. And,
Yeah.
like Baron Sengir.
Baron Sengir, Merchant Scroll.
Yeah.
Memory Lapse?
Memory Lapse. Yeah.
So this is actually going to be in 2018. So it's still going to be a different, distance away from Iconic Masters, and they have even said like there is going to be plenty of differentiation between these two sets. Iconic Masters is going to be really creature focused.
Iconic Masters is going to be bad.
I'm just hoping for the sweet downgrades, like take some rares, make an uncommon, so I can put them in my cube.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what I'm trying to get out of it.
I hate to tell you about, or I guess I'm good for you. Probably getting that sweet Shivan Dragon uncommon. That's probably coming.
But so that'll be interesting to see like kind of how what directions they're taking these master sets and everything like that. And I'm excited. This should be really a cool one. And they have all the cards available to them that are available to be reprinted to put stuff in. So that'll be interesting. And yeah, we'll just have to check it out and see. So, next up we have Thursday's announcement, which is Pro Tour news. This is kind of short and sweet. Starting with Pro Tour, after Rivals of Ixalan, they'll be unpinning the Pro Tours from the set releases. Basically, Pro Tours will no longer be 2 weeks after a set's new release, which they basically said that they've seen that pretty much the Pro Tour dictates whatever the meta is going to be, and it kind of doesn't evolve past that. So they kind of want to give it more time to brew, as it were, and not have things be settled so quickly. And I think this is a good change, in all honesty. I like that, we don't have this sort of, set in stone sort of thing. We get people more interested in actually, trying to do something different in the formats rather than just being, we're just kind of waiting until Pro Tour happens and then going from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like for us, I mean, we've played in a lot of Star City Opens that have been like either the first or second week after sets come out, and it is kind of there's some excitement there because it is at that time a pretty unexplored format for the most part. I mean, you're going to have some carryover from previous formats or whatever, but there is some sense of like exploration involved there, so I think that's pretty cool. And I like that they're extending it out to make that like kind of a longer period of time.
Yeah, I think I'd also like you, and I don't know if this is in response to this or not, but like you have Star City's saying that like essentially they're only going to have standard opens on release weekend going forward. Well, this might encourage them to like not do that too, because like, well, I mean, you're gonna wait for what? You know what I mean? Like, but the nice thing is like if there's a gap in between that one standard open and the Pro Tour, like then we might actually see some more surprising Pro Tours just based off of that. Like, no meta game. I like it.
Yeah. We also got the announcement that the 25th anniversary Pro Tour will be a team event. And this PT will be the one that coincides with the new core set release next year. The event will be separate from the Pro Tour Team Series, so competitors won't have to worry about that. And then more details will come regarding how to qualify, what the format is, and etc.
So they have to let you qualify as groups of 3, right? Like. Individuals who then get thrust onto a team seems awful. So the 3 of us, whatever that qualification system is, we've got to at least try.
I remember the last time the last team Pro Tour that they did was Pro Tour Charleston, which was original Ravnica block.
Back when that was the dance of the time.
Right. So I mean, you can see how long ago that was. But the way that they did the qualifications there, they had team, I believe it was team standard. Like unified standard.
Oh man, please give me regular PTQs, but that are teams. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Team format constructed PTQ.
Yeah. So that's how you qualified for that one. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see how it works with this one. Maybe they'll still have it as individual, PTQ system or I don't know.
I hope that's not true because like that is awful. Like.
You're just gonna find some random people.
Yeah, like if you're gonna put a random teams, like and then you look at something like you as a random player who qualifies for the PT, you are already obviously at a disadvantage compared to like established pros. But in a team setting, like I qualified for my first Pro Tour. Oh, good, it's the team one, and you're gonna throw it up with random idiot. You know what I mean? It's like but these guys who were all qualified got to decide their team because they're already, and it's like that it cannot be how that works. They've got to let you qualify as a group. Otherwise, like that's miserable.
I wonder if they're gonna bring back like.
Regular PTQs just for that?
No, like Planeswalker Point invites just for this one.
Interesting.
I don't think that's something that they want to do.
I don't think they could do that though, like because it's going to be next year and they said details coming soon. But I know they don't like to do this, but you would need to know now.
Yeah.
To start grinding for that.
Yeah. Well, they're really good at just dropping these on.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, this is like next week.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We don't really know right now, but
no, it is still a mystery, but. When we find out, we will let you know as soon as we can. And then Friday, we got some more Hour of Devastation previews. They held this ridiculous event at GP Vegas where they played like giant cards, and there was an actor who was Nicobolus, and then there was the Gatewatch, which is
sort of an assortment of random people.
Oh yeah, an assortment of random people. And they played with the giant poster-sized Magic cards, and they all were new cards, quote unquote new cards for Hour of Devastation. Some of them we may have known of already. And to be honest, Samut the Tested was one of the cards that the Gatewatch got to play, and I'm glad I already knew about that card beforehand.
So you couldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
Yeah. But we obviously, with this, we got like the mechanics that are going to be in there, so we definitely want to talk about those. So, Eternalize. So
we found out what it does.
We found out what it does. It is basically like a bomb, but like your creature gets upgraded to a 4/4 black zombie creature instead of being a whatever.
A copy of whatever the card is. Yeah, like
which is kind of disappointing, right? Because then, like, you're not going to have any sort of eternalized creature that is bigger than a 4/4.
Yeah, they're all 4/4s. I even said it last week, like when we were trying to figure out what it was, and we were kind of guessing at what it was. I was just like, if this is just another riff on Obama, it would be pretty lame.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I don't think it was a riff on Obama, but
and bomb. That's what I said.
All right. I heard Obama. I don't know. I talked to you last night, though. We were talking how, like, this is literally the megamorph of abilities, right? Where it's like, what do we do with Embalm? Bigger.
But like, it's not. Like, theoretically, because you had a 6/6 that you could make with Embalm in the last set.
I guess. I don't know. It's bad. It's actively bad. I don't know what to tell you. It's a bad mechanic.
It's disappointing. But
it's not like
whatever.
It's not like the worst because I mean, obviously, we're not seeing Embalm again. This just replaces it. So even if we didn't have this, we would just have Embalm again. And depending on how you feel about that, then maybe you'd still be disappointed that Embalm was still here. But
I'd rather just be something else, like something different. Like this feels like they're just recycling the same thing, which I mean they are. I don't know. It's
No, but like you said, like they're black zombie tokens now, so you know that they're not the regular mummies from before. Now they're zombies, not mummies.
They're like the weird. I guess we'll talk about the invocations, but those weird like skeleton looking things,
yeah.
right? You know, like the weird looking zombies, the bolus zombies.
Yeah, the bolus zombies.
the Eternalized.
The eternalized. Yeah, they're the ones who they were worthy and they got to go, lay in the.
Oh.
Yeah,
Right.
they've been doing like squats and lunges the
Yeah.
entirety of their afterlife.
Well, I mean, these are the people that went through the trials.
yes. So they
So
are
they-
literally like
The best of the best.
yes.
Including that cat, apparently, like, went through the trial.
That is so like flavorfully bad. Like it's just like, rise, my worthy, and kitties.
And that cat. I like that cat.
I like that one cat.
that one cat. And we have afflict, but we already knew about that. It's still the same thing. It's just afflicted a number, and then if it is blocked, you target, the blocking opponent loses that much life. So nothing to report there.
And we have more deserts. We have a desert.
We have
sub-theme.
Exert back, and then we have a very a more overt desert sub theme. So the Chevette monitor just gets better, you get more desert. So we have a set of cycling common basic deserts. They come into play tapped. They are generate a color of mana, and they are cyclable for one in a color.
Yeah, so the red one like it enters the battlefield taps to add a red, and then you can cycle it for a red and a colorless.
Yep.
And Aftermath is back.
Yes, Aftermath is back.
Oh, they didn't even list it on the actual page.
They showed grind it to dust
Yeah.
during the Bolas match. So
Yeah. Going back to deserts real quick, there seem to be a decent number of cards that care about deserts in play as well as deserts in your graveyard, and sometimes both.
Yes.
So, I guess it makes sense that they would have like the cycling deserts.
Yeah.
Has a way to get it in your graveyard.
and
we got like a Flameton Kavu kind of.
yeah, a little bit.
Sand Strangler deals 3 damage to a creature if you have a desert, which is sweet.
And there is a another set of deserts that are yet to be announced that are that correspond to each color, is what is said in the article that Mara wrote on Monday. So I'm interested to see what those are and what rarity they are at. So, then we also got all of the reprinted Hour of Devastation invocations. So all the ones that are going to be reprinted.
Yeah, we got one of the.
We have
New
one
cards,
of the
I
gods,
guess.
and we have one of the. There is another god that got announced today, actually, that we actually have. So,
Can we just talk about like how they revealed these, because it was actually ridiculous.
so they gave you a picture on the GP Vegas stream. They gave you a picture of the art, and they're like, "What invocation is this?"
Yeah, and like they would go to commercial break or whatever, so you have time to think about it. And then like pretty much most of the time it's like, well, this looks like I don't know. Like, oh, this looks like a Wrath of God. And it's like, nope, this is a Forbid. Like, what?
Forbid actively looks like a plague is
It
killing
looks like
Hazaret.
pestilence or something.
Yeah,
Like,
and then it's just like Forbid, and it's like, what's blue about this? You have an obviously black spell attacking a red god, and Forbid.
You
did it.
Yeah, I did
Diabolic
successfully.
Edict is the best one, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to describe the art on Diabolic Edict. Main focus of the art, I'm going to say, is the giant colossus.
It's the Iron Giant.
Yes, it is a what would appear to be a artifact construct. Definitely has some intricate markings on it. In the sky, there is a multicolored sort of. It is the Heckma kind of being dispersed. Kind of gives you like an aurora borealis sort of feel,
Yeah.
like a splash of color. In the foreground, there is a body of a human, like half covered in sand. That is Diabolic Edict, apparently. Don't know how.
How about this one? On the top of a pyramid with bolus horns shining in the background, you see an army of these eternalized zombie warriors marching in formation. Army of the Damned? No mercy. That's sure.
I actually thought a separate card was Army of the Damned, which is turned out to be Threads of Disloyalty. That one was probably the most egregious one to me. And I only said Army of the Damned because I actually counted the zombies as 13 in the picture. So I'm like, oh, that would make sense. That would be awesome. No, it's
How about the Avatar of Woe that looks like one of the bosses in Zelda that every now and then it comes up out and it shows you its weak spot and then it goes back onto the floor and then comes back out and shows you its weak spot and goes back onto the floor?
The best thing I saw was a picture of the villain from Samurai Jack. If you've seen that cartoon, that is exactly what he looks like.
So thematically here, what we have is... at least the theme of these feels a little bit more straightforward.
Do you remember From the Vault Annihilation?
Yeah, essentially
it's like that.
This is Invocation Annihilation.
And there's some okay ones. Like Armageddon is sweet and the art looks fine. Blood Moon is sweet and the art for that looks perfect.
Yeah, the Blood Moon is
actually
the best one, I think.
You've got some other Boil. It looks, I think, actually kind of sweet as far as the art goes.
I like the Doomsday.
Doomsday is sweet. I think the
sweet.
Capsize is sweet because the image of the boat actually matches like what you're doing.
It's not a flying boat this time.
No, but
I think Damnation looks pretty
Damnation is
all right.
good. Omniscience looks perfect. I think Omniscience is actually the best one because
Yeah.
the way it highlights Bolus. But like, I also feel like as a list of cards, a lot of these are like Through the Breach is a good get. Armageddon is like a fine get. I guess Thoughtseize is a good get.
Yeah.
But like Sunder, like I said,
Yeah,
Boil,
Shatterstorm.
Shatterstorm, Forbid, even like I guess for Desolation Angel. I know that friend of the show Keller was super excited about it, but he's
Yeah.
going to be the only person.
I actually guessed that one like right off the bat. I saw that picture. I was just like, that can't be Desolation Angel. Like they wouldn't reprint that one, right?
And like some of these cards are just outright like I don't know. Like it's always bad when one of these is open and limited. But dear Lord, if you get boiled. If you get boiled when you're playing like your base blue deck, or like choked because there's two of
Yeah,
them,
if you're playing blue, then
You know what I mean?
watch out.
or how about when your opponent casts opposition against you?
Oh man,
You ever played that against that card? If you're a listener
so-
to play against opposition, it's miserable. But in limited, you're done.
So your opponent is playing blue-white, Balm, with opposition in a Catcher's Monument.
At least the game won't last long.
That
pretty good.
sounds
like,
great.
I think there's some good
Capsize
ones.
is pretty good limited.
Is it the cap? Oh god, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I hit that card in like Cube Draft already. So
I think the only one I want for Battle Box is Thoughtseize, though. I want it.
yeah, that's pretty good. That's also going to be probably one of the most expensive ones. So.
Yep. So I just need to open it. It's fine.
That's fine.
I've opened a couple. I'll get right on it.
But yeah, plenty of stuff. Nothing really that we're going to highlight before we do like the set review show or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
I think we're gonna move.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to talk about is
Oh no, I do want to talk about how ridiculous the Bolas game was. though.
okay.
I just like they did a large like game of Magic between the Gatewatch and Nicol Bolas, which is a guy wearing horns, and it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm sorry, I get what they were trying to do was fun. Maybe if the Scorpion God, the card they had revealed was better, that'd be fine.
That whole thing was a mess anyway. They
They messed
They
up
like got stuck in there halfway.
Well, like that.
Yeah,
Beyond that, like they messed up the script for gameplay because like different art showed up on the screen. Like literally, like they're supposed to play a certain card on a certain turn, and they just didn't. So then, like you ended up like having Bolas cast a 3/1 flyer into their Samut, and they had to like laugh about it, like, "Oh, you're a fool! You would do this, haha!" And it's like, no, you messed up the script, and now this is stupid. But because like they had the art for that bird show up on screen a turn before, but then they didn't cast it, and then like the commentators had to pretend like they didn't know what was happening. Like, oh, we didn't see that. Oh, what's this card? It's like,
Yeah.
no, this is awful.
it's not like you saw them randomize the giant decks
Yeah.
before. Like
the
come on.
guy who was Bolas like had some fun with it, but like the commentary was awful, and it was just like it was like it could if it was like corny enough that it was like fun, sure, but like I really hate this. The only thing I will say that was funny about it, the only thing was then you had Bolas's like minions who were his hand, and they started walking in between each other to shuffle the hand. That was okay. Flicking cards on Giant Magic was funny, but like it was just so goofy, and like none of the like. Samut obviously being terrible didn't help, but they were just showing like bad limited cards, so like it was
Yeah.
not. I don't know. Like when they are literally trying to get the crowd to cheer for like Basic Mountain, and you're like, yeah, Basic
like,
Mountain.
That's awkward because that should be the first time that we see these new full art
That's true,
basic
too.
lands, and it wasn't because they were spoiled beforehand. Like
Yeah, well, maybe we can spin that into the next thing here.
Yeah.
because like that is getting to the point where it's becoming ridiculous.
So I wasn't around for when like the new Phyrexia like God book got leaked. I was before, like just before I started to get back into the game. But we had something that is potentially just as bad, if not worse, due to timing. But last week there was a massive leak of Ixalan cards.
We are not going to talk about any of the cards or anything we saw.
We're just talking about the situation.
The situation, because it is not fair to
people who want to stay in the dark.
If you want to look at it, the images are there, and no one's going to fault you for doing it. But we're not going to spoil anything for anyone.
We can talk about the differences between this and like the promo cards from our Devastation that got leaked.
I don't think it's that much of a difference.
I think there's some difference, but we'll just say what happened. Like,
basically, initially there was a photo of like a grouping of 9 cards that looked like it was a uncut sheet of foil Ixalan that got posted to Reddit. As the day went on, we got to see that there was actually a whole sheet of the rares and mythic rares from Ixalan that were in the possession of someone. And likely someone walked out the door with it from a printer. And there are definitely some things that you can get from this. And it's months away. Months and months and months away. Now I know with the with the God Mode leaking it was bad, but New Phyrexia was sort of more imminent than Ixalan is to us now.
I can't remember. Yeah, it was definitely like. I mean, we hadn't even really officially gotten into the Hour of Devastation like spoiler season yet.
Yeah,
and like we already had like the full like basically all the rares and mythics from Ixalan, which is like crazy.
That's not true. Like a lot of there are some that you can make out, but that like you can't make out a lot of those cards.
It's whatever, but still like the fact that it's out there.
Yes, correct.
You know what I mean? It's just like
it's out there, and there could be more pictures that exist that get out there. So like who knows? I mean, we haven't heard anything else about it, and it's been weeks. So assumedly, Wizards has been put into motion to some facet, and maybe got a hold of the person that did this or something like that. Who knows? That's all pure conjecture. But this is crazy, and it's it's very devastating to the game. I remember when a bunch of the Oath of the Gatewatch stuff got leaked, and they put out like an article about why leaks hurt the game, and it's a bad situation.
Now, as far as like why I think they're both just as bad, one, like this is definitely coming from someone who's working at the printer who probably doesn't really care about the game. That he's working at the printer, and they can get a bunch of likes on Reddit. Like that's the thrill of doing something like this. I hope Wizards cracks down, and like what you're going to end up with is like a printing factory where you have to turn in like all of your like electronics before you're allowed to go in, and they will actively search you. And that sounds awful, but that's what they'll do. But the other ones, those are coming from stores. Those are stores that got that thing and they took pictures of it and posted it. I think that's worse because they are biting the hand that feeds them.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument. I personally, I'm saying it's not the same thing because
it's not as far out.
It's not the same thing because something like the Hour of Devastation promos that we got. Like that's in the hands of people. Like that's been distributed already
to people who have to sell it, who have an agreement. Like, and
right. I'm not saying it's right.
No, but I don't think you can say it's not the same. It's exactly the same. It was the street date hasn't been met. You have leaked it. It is the same thing. You can't. You can't get around. No, you don't know. You can't get around it. It's the same thing.
I just feel
should we have seen it yet? Should we have seen it yet? I guess not. Then it's the same thing.
None of this, but I'm just saying like that's been distributed to people. It's in the hands of not just like one person, but multiple stores, whatever. People have had it. There's like foil uncut sheet. Like who has access to that? Somebody that works at the factory.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody broke in and stole it. Like I don't even know. That feels. That just feels way worse to me. I don't know.
If I am a person who's trying to set up a game and I send out promotional materials to people like, hey, this is for you to make more money off the product that you're going to buy. And then you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to give it to people early and undercut you, the company that wants to help make the money. Like, it seems just as bad to me. And by definition, it's the same thing. Like they're both leaks. They're both early leaks. But I don't know. I could see why you want to be more lenient to those because like they are people. But like WotC isn't more lenient to those. Look what they did to all those judges. You know what I mean? Yeah. The cards were in some of those cards were in people's hands, and then they sent those pictures out to people. You know what I mean? Like that's like saying like, oh well, somebody in R&D leaked it. It was in their hands, so like I don't know. It doesn't work for me.
I think a lot of it, like the differences that you're going to see a lot of arguments for, is like time, like proximity to.
And I agree with that. That's why maybe it feels different, but I don't think it is different.
I think the scope of it as well. Like you have a whole uncut sheet versus a couple of promos that we ended up getting this week anyway.
Well, and we're already in a block, so we have we're not surprised. Like we guessed at Eternalize, and we're not surprised at what it is because we're in the block. But your abilities you may see on that uncut sheet, you know what I mean? Like we shouldn't have had anything about that. So my wife just asked, isn't the point of promotional cards to promote and market? It is, but they're for specific events. So like the cards that were shown, and I'm answering her question and answering the question for everyone here, but the cards that were shown were for game day, right? So those are normally shown during spoiler week, so you get excited about the card, and then they're like, if you want these cards, come to this event. But what happened is those cards were spoiled before WotC started official spoilers. So things like the full art basic lands that WotC wanted to show off at this huge event in Vegas this weekend, that was stolen from them. They don't get to show those anymore because people have already seen it. So by releasing it early, it's not meant as to be promotional material, as they're not supposed to spoil it for everyone. The mothership gets to spoil as they deem fit.
I will say this is kind of related, but not the same thing. It was a little disappointing to get the preview today, which was Bantu's Last Reckoning.
Yeah, and I already know it.
Wizards spoiled themselves on that one.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Why do we have to get another article on this? But it is what it is. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think spoilers or leaks in general take away from the excitement of the spoiler season. And when I'm sure a lot of people out there, you refresh the mothership right around 11 o'clock.
Oh, I don't anymore. Morgan sends it to show chat. I don't even have to go to the website.
Yeah, that's true. but if you are one of those people that's you're excited, you want to see what cards are getting previewed, and then you see I've already seen this card.
Yeah,
that's just I'm not even going to read this article, and that's not fair to the writer that gets to preview it, or maybe it's somebody that's not even on the mothership. Maybe it's some a card that's been given to somebody at Channel Fireball or Star City or any of the other websites out there, or podcasts even that. Gets it.
And you look at the cat, for example. We saw the promo, we saw Eternalize, we weren't sure, and we had Evan Irwin who's it's really good because he knew what it was already. He did the best he could to try and keep the excitement built, right? And that's awkward because he shouldn't even be put in that situation. Yeah. He was told what the card does, got to see it, and didn't say anything about it.
He at least knows what Eternalize is.
Sure.
Now that we've seen the mechanic, that makes sense that he might have a card that has that on it, but not necessarily that card.
But he kept it to himself. You know what I mean? And if we got a spoiler card, WotC, I promise we would keep it to ourselves because we're good. We're good podcast peoples.
We don't have any weight there.
I have a lot of weight.
Not at WotC.
Oh no, just in general, I'm kind of fat.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I said it.
No, it's fine.
I said it. But yeah, so I will say this imploringly. Not that I think anybody who does this is listening to this, but stop. You could see what WotC's plan was this week because their event over the weekend should have shown us what the lands look like, and then we get to see the Scorpion God, and then today they revealed the Locust God, and they have a plan for this rollout. Now, granted, they undercut themselves a little bit. They already showed us Bolas, and that was their fault. But I don't know. It's frustrating when it keeps getting undercut, and maybe that's just what it's like in the digital age. But
now there have also been concerns in relation to the actual card quality of recent sets, so Kaladesh and even Amoket, because pure conjecture, there is this idea that WotC switched printers at some point in time to cut costs. Now, if this is the result of them doing that, maybe we look at potentially going, rethinking this decision.
Yeah, so we've had
killing two birds with one stone.
We've had complaints about the card stock. We've had awful printing errors with the art, especially in Modern Masters 3. It was
just inconsistencies.
Cards that look like expensive cards, that
look washed out.
Fetches that look like they're fake. You would not be wrong to think they were fake. And then we get this kind of leak. Yeah, maybe you're right.
Mm-hmm. You know. I fully believe that is a thing, and we haven't had any word from WotC on this whatsoever. I don't know if they're ever going to say anything about this, but it is pretty devastating, and I hope
I get it.
I hope that we don't see anything else from that sheet or anything like that. just because not necessarily like for me, I'm a competitive player. I know that I'm going to be seeing these cards eventually. Whether I see them now or later is not necessarily a huge impact to me, but I do know that there are a lot of people that really enjoy spoiler season. There are a lot of people that get to spoil these cards and really craft, great articles around these cards and mechanics. And to have them out there so early really deflates that. And I think that is the most disappointing thing, is that we will be feeling the pain of this when we get to the spoiler season for Ixalan.
Yeah, I won't lie. I looked at some of the cards. I looked at the sheet, and I immediately went, "Man, I wish I wouldn't have looked at this." Like I did. I felt bad that I saw it. Like I don't want to know. I would take it from my mind. Strike it from the record.
Yeah. And if you still want to be excited, I mean, you could see that something like that is out there, and you could say, you know what, I'm not going to look. Personally, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to peek. I'm too curious. But fortunately, the pictures were such bad quality, you really weren't going to get much out of it anyway. But you get a little bit.
You get enough to be disappointed.
Yeah.
So, but that is everything for our very, very long community segment.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Well, hey, announcement week's pretty big. Next week we won't have anything. So,
it's so big it took 2 episodes to get through it all.
So before we jump into our competitive segment, we do want to give a shout out to Comic Town. They're going to be running 2 more Standard Showdown events at the shop. The remaining 2 dates for these will be June 25th and July 2nd. So go out there to Comic Town and play some Standard Showdown. We got a new standard format, pretty much.
Rejuvenated.
No more Marvel.
Hopefully.
Do what you want, man.
Re-energized, if you will.
Correct. Accurate.
Ding.
So yeah, go out there, play some Standard, and get hyped for our Devastation. So, all right, let's talk about GP Vegas. It was big. It was a big tournament. There are a lot of people across all of the GPs, and yeah, it was just like a huge event. It looks like we had we had people from Ohio that were there. We got to learn about the stuff that was going on. So it made you feel kind of jealous if you weren't there to some level, I think. Except for the heat, it was triple digits over there. So on that.
I mean, you're inside a convention center the whole weekend. Anyway.
Yeah, you do have to go outside, and then you turn it's like the end of Indiana Jones. When you walk outside, your face just melts because you stared too long at the Ark of the Covenant. So let's talk about Legacy real quick. Not in depth, obviously. It had it started on Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday, and had a total of 2,656 players. That's pretty good for a Thursday tournament. I mean, we have Thursday at Comic Town. We have Legacy there. Don't get those kind of numbers.
Sorry, man.
Close, but no cigar.
No cigar. Andrew Calderon was the big winner, playing Death and Taxes. And I watched a little bit of the top 8, and they definitely said Death and Taxes is probably a pretty good choice for the GP.
It was a pretty good weekend for little white creatures, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to modern in a little bit here, but
and I think that this is the big tournament that we had post Miracles banning, and I think the format looks fairly diverse. And we have. Is this pretty much 8 different lists in the top 8? We do have 3 Delver 4 Delver decks. 2 of them match, so 2 of them are Grixis Delver.
Yeah, 2 Grixis Delver, a blue-red Delver. Yeah.
And a Teamer Delver. And then you have Death and Taxes, and then lands, and then 4-color Leovold, and then Sneak and Show as your other decks rounding out the top 8. But I think that overall, with my very limited expertise with Legacy, the format looks fun and diverse, and it looks like people are doing what they want to do. It is surprising that we don't have an Elves list here in the top 16, from what I can see.
Yeah.
So it looks like people might have been gunning for it.
Yeah, people were prepared. There was some kind of wacky cards. I mean, I know... What's the card from Amonkhet that's deal damage to all your opponent's creatures?
It's
Blazing Ball.
Yeah, Blazing Ball.
That's a card that is seen Legacy play.
Yeah.
There's some other.
Yeah, Elliot ran one in Louisville.
Yeah, there's some weird ones. I think Jolisette was playing something crazy, but I can't think of it now. But I think people were prepared for elves. I think that was a deck that I think a lot of people thought would pick up in popularity now that
Right.
Miracles was gone. So people kind of reacted to that. There's a lot of Delver, a lot of Grixis Delver, to be honest. Just in general, I think it was surprising to see there were a couple just like blue-white control lists that were doing really well, which is basically just Miracles without top
Yeah.
and like counterbalance. Like still did fairly well. I think there was a couple in the top 16. Yeah. So I mean, like that just to me that just says like Miracles was just busted because you take away the best card and it's still like just a
Passable.
perfectly fine deck. You know?
I mean,
like,
it ends up being a blue control deck that plays like for Jace. Or am I looking at the wrong one?
there were a couple different ones. Yeah, like
all I know is that thanks to and I know Min is part of the group, but we had him on before, who sort of thought the world was over when Top got banned and has worked on this. I know that like he's made that deck has helped make Portent like a ridiculously expensive
Yes.
card. And I was sorting cards this week and I found my 7 copies of Predict. That's a $6 card. So thanks guys, I appreciate it. I'll go turn it into something I'll use.
Protect was tech before the banning.
No, it
shit,
was,
so
but now
just,
now it's like a 4 of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now you need it.
But Portent is sweet if you're still trying to play Miracles because it's one of the old style
it's a
cards.
slow trip,
Yeah, you
yeah.
draw on their turn, so you get to ponder essentially, but like then you can put your Terminus on top and then draw on their turn, so you Terminus on their turn.
yeah. Yeah.
So
figured
I want to mention the blue red Delver deck that took second place. Jonathan Simeon, does that make sense? Simeon? I don't remember. They said his name a bunch of times. This deck is sweet because it's like this is like the barely legacy Delver deck. We're like, okay, we'll just add Force Wills Volks.
Yeah, this is what I would play if I played Legacy.
But he was playing like Bedlam Revelers, which were sweet. He also had a one of Thunderous Wrath, which he definitely miracled on camera multiple times.
He killed multiple people with it.
Yeah, which was hilarious. Like when you brainstorm, you happen to see that one there. You're like, oh.
Hello.
And of course, like was playing like Price of Progress too, which is obviously very good. And just like this is your tempo burn deck, and I this is the kind of deck that I can get behind in any format. It's crazy how close this deck feels to like the Pauper version of the deck. Like, you may think I'm like kidding, but I'm not. Like, there's the amount of cards in common with this version and the Pauper version are crazy. So I'm sad I couldn't take it down. Obviously, Death and Taxes felt like a pretty good. Like, if you watched him play through the top 8, seemed like it was positioned to do well by everyone. All these Delver decks really skimp on lands. So like wastelanding them and porting them is a good way. Like you can play Thalia, Wasteland, port, and it's impossible for them to play Magic.
Yeah, this blue red deck's playing 16 lands.
That blue red deck is playing 7 lands.
Well,
that aren't fit. I'm being very honest.
Fetches,
like if you look in the finals, he had definitely issues where like he drew like Flooded Strand, but didn't have islands left in his deck, and his Volks were gone, so like he couldn't get Mountain and he couldn't get land off of it because of the denial package from the other deck. So yeah, like it has like 7 lands, and then like you draw the wrong fetches after you've hit all your Volks, and you're not gonna win.
Yeah.
So the Death and Taxes did it punished them for being greedy, and it did it well. So, but I just wanted the Thunderous Wrath was sweet.
yeah. I there was a sweet deck on day 1. So Josh Layton was playing a blue-black Death Shadow deck. in
Yeah,
Legacy,
I saw that.
which had like Delvers and Death Shadow. I was just like, it was sweet. No, it just had like a bunch of fetch lands, 4 watery graves, 1 underground sea. I was just like,
Oh yeah, every
Nice mana base.
time you fetched and shocked, I was like, "You're my hero."
like you get to play like Probe and Thoughtseize. You know, I think it threw some Garmag Anglers in there for good measure, but it was definitely interesting. But like, he definitely fell off in day 2, and I'm guessing he probably maybe faced down some Source to Plowshares, which is pretty good against Death Shadow.
Yeah, no joke. Good
So,
lord.
Yeah.
All right. So that was Legacy. Next up, we have Limited, and it was a total of 2,562 players. It was won by Thiago Saporito, and he defeated Steve Rubin in the finals to take it down.
Dave's liner note there is unbelievable.
I agree, but
The Brazilian Jordan. I don't care.
How many people know who
I don't care.
Jordan looks
If you know what Jordan looks like, you get to laugh for that
Yeah,
one.
you get to see his doppelganger. It's good.
Fair enough.
It is okay to put jokes in that are just for the most devoted
All right.
listeners.
Okay.
If you think that joke's funny, you've been here for a while, and we appreciate that.
I nearly laughed out loud when I first read it.
Oh, I did too. I had to stop myself because it was really good.
And the top 8 actually featured Mike Sigris, Sam Party, and Andrew Cuneo.
Yeah, that top 8 was crazy.
Yeah, it was a pretty good top 8. Pretty good. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to talk very much about Limited.
They only did on the stream because they had Legacy going Thursday, Friday, and then Modern was Saturday, Sunday. They only streamed the top 8 of Limited, which was perfectly fine.
I mean, I
think,
watched most of Kaneo's draft.
Yeah.
So like that was fine.
It was on like really late too. It was like
it was
midnight,
after
I think,
it was after the top 8 of the
Legacy.
Is that the top 8 of Legacy and also I think after the preview event as well?
I think so.
So like it was super late. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should talk more about Limited because GP Cleveland's this week, but I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, talking about actual Limited, like, what do you want us to tell you about?
Yeah, exactly.
Open invocations. I hear they're good.
All right. So let's move on to the main course. GP Vegas Modern. It had a total of 3,264 players. That is a lot of people playing some Modern. We have Manny Devoudi? I think it's Devoudi. Taking it down with Affinity in the finals. It was a bit of an unusual top 8 in all honesty because we had 3 Affinity decks. We had green-white hate bears. We had mono-white hate bears. Blue-black turns. Eldrazi-tron and burn. And like you're just looking at that and you're going, well, I thought
where are the Death Shadows?
Where's the Tarmogoyfs? Like where's like, and, it was sort of a mixture of like tier 1.5 decks and then three Affinity decks.
Yeah,
and then Eldrazi-tron. I guess Eldrazi-tron is really it's a
I would
tier
call
1.
it tier 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that many Affinity lists, and actually all 3 of them won in the quarterfinals. So the top 4 was 3 Affinity decks and the mono white hate bears deck.
So you get what? You get one weekend like that, and then everyone remembers that they have to pack Affinity.
Everybody's like, oh, Stony Silence is going back in.
We skipped on it now. No, just
so yeah. If you're playing in any big Modern tournaments, maybe maybe the Star City Open or the Invitational coming up. Yeah, Affinity might not be the best choice. Might have some
stiff competition.
Yeah, a little bit of
people might have remembered that your deck and that you can play it, so they might want to make you not be able to do that. Very much so. Craig Wesco, keep at it. Green White Hate Bears, man. Just like who when you saw Craig Wesco playing that deck and he was doing pretty well, like if he's on a good weekend, he's probably going to top 8. So, and the this one has like a subtle like cat theme, right? Because you got like Bramaz and you have I assume
Leonin Arbiter, Kasali Pride Mage.
Kasali Pride Mage, yeah. We're getting new cats, in Hour of Devastation from some of the things we've seen. So like we're just like halfway there to nice little cat Modern deck.
Yeah, I think
don't agree to that, Dave. That's not at all true.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it was interesting to note. So, like a card that we talked about last week is like picking up steam and being very good in the format. Mirroring Crusader. Craig's playing 4 of in his main deck here, and did some good work on camera. And I believe even the second place list, played by Tho Mary, he was playing the mono white hate bears. He was just playing 1 Mirroring Crusader main, but I believe he had 2 more on the board. Yeah, so I mean, this is a card that I think is pretty good, well positioned right now.
Yeah. Like we played Modern last night, and I literally switched to trying out Esper Death Shadow last night just to have a couple more options for like instead of like being stuck having to play more bolts, you can play Path as your don't have to play Terminates and all, and get like Lingering Souls and stuff, so you're not just like dead. Like a lot of the Grixis Shadow like builds we talked about last week were actually just dead to that card, and to see 2 good decks top 8 that have multiple Mirror Crusaders in them. Not to mention the fact that the way that West Coast is built with the 4 Hierarchs and the 3 Pride Mages. You just die really quick to Mirror Crusader. Like,
You could
take 8.
definitely, he could
Exalted,
even
take 8.
collected company into 2 of them at the end of the turn. And just be like, oh, you're dead. But as it turns out, Mirror Crusader not good against robots.
No, not as good.
So
That champion still wins that fight.
yeah.
I saw that there was another 4-color or another collected company humans list that got 19th place. And I just want to talk about it, just for the sheer fact that he's playing one of Absent Falconer. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy about that. I really do enjoy this deck so much.
So like, honor. So you end a turn, you collected company into like Thalia's Lieutenant and Absent Falconer, then untap and then tap your Absent Falconer's a human, isn't it? Oh God.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. I think this deck is just the bee's knees. I don't care how good and or bad it is. I really want to play it, and I probably will. I have a lot of these cards, or I have access to a lot of these cards. So I don't know when I'm going to play it or where, but somewhere in some time.
No, just let it be said that we haven't talked about Death Shadow at all, but it was there in Force. There were, I believe, 6 in the top 32, which isn't like overwhelming. I think that's like a decent showing. But a lot of the top players that you would expect were playing it. You had Owen Turdenwald and Arilax, both top 32. BBD was in the top 32. You had Seth Manfield was playing it. Oliver 2 was playing it. Yeah. So I mean, like, it feels like that was the deck that like pros that don't play a lot of Modern kind of gravitated to that, because it feels like a legacy deck. Like, honestly, with all the 1-mana cards that you get to play.
And it is the de facto sort of best deck in the format, quote unquote. It's Modern, so that's a very loose term. Obviously, we don't even see any in the top 8. And Grixis is definitely shown itself, I think, to be like the definitive version.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and we kind of knew that going in. It's just continuing here. Yeah. So, but you still have to be prepared for it. You're still, if you go to a big tournament, you're probably going to play it multiple times. So,
right.
Even in a format as diverse as Modern. So you definitely, I know personally, I'm not going to be playing a deck at the Invitational that has a bad matchup against Shadow.
No.
Like, I want to hope to at least have an even matchup, but
you gotta
something
you gotta have a plan.
Have a good plan.
Yeah. I do want to shout out to Martin Yuza playing Ban Eldrazi, which is something we haven't seen in a while. I actually didn't take a look at his list because I just saw that, but it looks like your typical what you would expect. But yeah, I thought that was pretty nifty to see.
I want to also just say in general too, like all these pros, like BBD had a post about how like he like punted a couple times, like and lost his back-to-back win-ins. It felt like he punted them and said that like he felt like his brain had melted by the end of a couple of these guys like played in all 3. Like I know a lot of people specifically if they 6-3 like Legacy, then they dropped and just went to Limited the next day.
They had people at X2 and Limited, and they were like,
So like a lot of them had literally just played Magic every single day they were there. You know what I mean? Randoms went out there. Our friends of ours went out there just like Magic. They played like 1 GP and then they had fun.
Yeah.
But like the pros were there to see because ostensibly if you do well in Legacy, you could still play Modern and you could pick up a bunch of pro points in a weekend, which isn't common. And like for a lot of them, like kudos to them for really sticking out. Like Craig Wesco, like top 8ing that after playing Magic probably every single day, and like good for you for not having ooze leaking out of your ears at the end of the day.
I imagine that was pretty strenuous. I mean, and playing like a lot of different, somewhat complicated formats.
Yeah, I mean seriously. So I do want to say that overall, though, man, I hope that this is not what Chana Fireball coverage is going to be like for every.
It was rough.
It was actively bad. Not only did now, granted, you could say maybe it was the venue, whatever, but their stream crashed over and over and over again.
Now it is important to point out that this isn't brought to you by like their partnership.
I know, I get that. That's what I'm saying. But man, it's hard not to fear that being a precursor. Like as far as commentary, like I feel like a number of people, and I'll say specifically, I think Patrick Chapin was awful. I said a couple of times he started pulling Uncle Randy's where he like was ignoring cards in play, and I found like I turned off the top 8 of the Legacy at one point like, for a while, like during the first round with Death and Taxes, because he was not paying attention to cards in play. And why isn't he doing this? And it's like because of this, man. Everyone can see it. Everyone can see the Thalia in play. That's why he's not casting his spell. Like
I will say though, as a counterpoint to that, Marshall Sutcliffe and Huey together are awesome.
No, I agree.
love
They have
them.
good teams. I said before, I enjoy obviously LSV is great, but I enjoy LSU and Gabby when they're out there.
Yeah,
But
they have a good.
But it did feel like at some points for them, this is not their fault, but some points for them, man, I cannot take an hour of fact or fiction. I can't do it. You're answering stupid questions. Is Censor a modern card? And LSV is you can see him throw his hands up a little bit, it's a card that's legal on modern. Why are we doing this? And I don't know. It felt really bad. And they had the invocations and the way they could do them, literally you compared it, Morgan, to playing Who's That Pokemon every time we cut out. And,
Yep.
and multiple times they messed it up where they just put the image on there and that was it. They were supposed to have music and the graphic was zooming in and out a little bit, but most of the time it just froze on the graphic and that was it. So it was just and we'll be back a little bit. At one point the mics were actually still on when they went out for it and awkward things were being said and it was guys,
Yeah.
please. They had a big judge call with you had it in the notes with Ari Lax that they wouldn't cut away from.
Yeah.
Again,
I wanted to go into that a little bit
so
more.
that's why we can
a
go
whole
into
other
that,
thing.
but I just want to say that I it's frustrating because this is a huge party weekend, a big thing for Magic, and if you were an outsider to the game who's oh, I heard Magic was doing this big thing this weekend, and you turned in, you went, oh, this is coverage.
Yeah, you just saw
You would hate it.
you just
would
saw
not watch ever again.
a still screen that said commercial break. You're
Yeah,
oh,
what is
cool.
this? What is this card? I don't know. I don't play Magic enough. I don't know. It seems. Get it together before you become the sole operators of all of this.
But I also feel we've been fairly negative on them when they.
Yes, but they're going to have all the GPs. They deserve every bit of negativity if they're trash.
I agree, but we give them a lot of crap. We gave Wizards a lot of crap when they were doing the ammo kit Pro Tour stuff when they had these complicated infograms of how these mechanics work, and it's I don't know what the best way to. I don't know what the best way to fill that time is.
So they need to make a real decision because when I don't subscribe, I'm not I'm not a paid subscriber, so I have to watch ads when I log into it, right? So just show me ads. Go to actual commercial break. Just do it. I don't care. Do it because they did that at one point during the top 8. They went to a commercial break and I saw a cluster of 3 in a row. Go to actual commercial break. Make your own commercials like they do at the Pro Tour, where they do commercials for
Ultra Pro.
Ultra Pro, thank you. I was going to say Upper Deck, and I'm that's baseball cards. That's not. That's not the same thing. Or don't go to break like that. You know what I mean? The Pro Tour, they have tons of segments they've created that fill in those blanks. Star City goes back to classic, and it may or may not be actually classic, but they go back. You'll go back and watch old matches from
best of
that kind of stuff.
whatever.
Something.
Sometimes they do that.
More often than not, or they give you a clock that tells you how long until they come back, so you can take a break too. Hey, we'll be back in 6 minutes live. We need to go to the bathroom. Why don't you go to the bathroom and make some nachos or something, man? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Literally, these are all options. Channel Fireball and WotC sometimes keeps going with the still screen and no sound one. That's the best choice. Got it. Figured it out.
They did have the time shifted matches, which were nice because you got to see 2 feature matches.
I like when Channel Fireball's done in the past, where you have the sped up match too that you can go to.
They did that a little bit here too. It depended on how much time they had before the next round started. So if they needed to speed it up, they could. And that helped out a little bit, but unfortunately, modern for the most part, the matches are going to be over relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So they would burn through those real quick, and it's we still have 15 minutes before the next pairings go up. So, I don't know. I didn't think it was as bad as what you're saying. I will say some of the commentary was a little suspect, and the stream going down multiple times wasn't the best.
You like Magic and want to watch good Magic, so the matches are enough, I think, for you and even for myself most of the time. But if they're going to be the sole people for GPs and they want to try and play this esport game where they want as many viewers on there, but the Legacy top 8 had 6,000 viewers, and you can call it just the format or whatever else, but you're getting beat by everything. I have to go search Magic as a game on Twitch. It doesn't pop up in the top ones. You've got to do something different if that's Magic's biggest party, and you've got to do something to make it viewable to the casual person who will just turn it on. Oh, we got some friends over. What can we watch? We'll put on Magic coverage because we will, but you need to get the person who's not tipped all the way to the right. You need to find a way to make that interesting, because you know what? I watch a lot of random video game streams because the people are fun. I literally went after the Legacy Top 8 and I got mad at Chapin. I jumped off that and watched somebody play Super Mario Brothers 3 for a half an hour. Do you know why? Because it was fun to watch someone play that game. You know what I mean? So like if I can be enticed to listen to someone compelling play Super Mario Brothers 3 for a half an hour, Magic should be able to do something to make coverage better. Like maybe that's a generic statement, but like they've got to figure out something for the person who's in the middle, not the person who's all the way invested. They've got to get something to pull them out, someone else in.
Maybe they got to do like some kind of like story videos or something like that.
So that would be cool. More lore videos would be sweet. Maybe they've got to finally come up with that Yu-Gi-Oh technology where they put the 3D bracelet on so the cards show up in real life. It'd be a lot more fun to watch a Glorybringer come out of someone's wrist and attack somebody. like Glorybringer, go! And then like you show it exert and start sweating really heavily. Like oh, you're tired. It's okay. You sleep for a turn.
I don't know. I think the issue is I don't know where the money for that comes from.
Again, that's where I think the ad thing comes in, though. I'm already watching ads when I pop on there. They give actual ads. Just give it to the Twitch advertisers and take that money, right? Like, do something in that sense. And I think maybe you're right. Like I said, maybe Ultra Pro is the only company that's ever done commercials for them.
Because I think
open that up more.
I think of like great things that they could do to fill in space, but I mean, some of the things they can't do for like every GP, like.
But for the biggest, like 3 of them in a row, giant party in Vegas, like this is we're talking about things they've done in the past they could have done now, and they didn't do that for the biggest tournament weekend outside of a Pro Tour the entire year. That seems awful and unexcusable.
I think that comes hand in hand without having a proper like production company.
Sure, and maybe it gets better when they are teamed up with a production company. We'll see. I'll stop. I know you want to move on to the RELAX thing, but that's I don't know. I thought it was bad.
I don't disagree with you.
So the RELAX thing was there was a feature match with RELAX and he was playing against Daniel Wong, who was he was the guy who top-aided with the Blue Black Turns deck. And as an aside, it was hilarious because he had an all-foil quadruple sleeved deck. I don't know if you guys saw this, but his deck was like it looked like a commander deck. Like it was so it was so big you couldn't just like he had to shuffle it in like parts.
He really loves it, man.
He's playing Battle of Wits or something like that. But anyway, so they were playing a feature match, and at one point, Daniel's shuffling his deck, kind of awkwardly because it's so big, and a card kind of drops out, and it lands like on top of his. He had set aside his hand on the table, and a card kind of dropped on top of it, and then he just like picked it up and put it back in his deck, kept shuffling, and then Ari kind of stopped him and like called the judge because he didn't really know what happened. Now, if you were watching it on stream, you could see that it's like there was he wasn't trying to do sleight of hand or anything like that, or trying to get
it landed on top, and then he
like
picked
that.
it back up.
Right. And like I just noticed like and Twitch chat is what it is, you could say whatever.
Usually, it's like the Mos Eisley cantina, just like
it's pretty much the worst. But
that's a nice way to say cancer.
But
well, the hive of scum and villainy.
I know.
Yeah. But like,
there's no Han Solos in Twitch chat though.
I just thought it was interesting that it's like almost unanimously, it was like people were just like anti RELAX, like, oh, he's trying to angle shoot, he's trying to like get a free win. And it's just like,
so here's the deal: Twitch chat is awful, but RELAX earned every bit of that. That man has earned every bit of that. This is the guy who flat out
we're not
told
the biggest fans of RELAX.
No, but he's the guy who flat out like tried to get people for like not revealing their morphs and get wins at the end of the game for that. That man does angle shoot on the rules. I'm sorry, he advertises it and talks about it.
In this particular instance, though,
he didn't. But it doesn't matter. Reputation precedes.
Right. But I'm saying in this particular instance, he did what you should do in that scenario, and I think like it brought up an interesting discussion because, like, I think there's a stigma out there. It's like if you call a judge on your opponent, you're like trying to like get your opponent, like you're trying to, like even if you're not trying to angle shoot, there's almost like it's people think that you're trying to angle shoot, and it really shouldn't be that way. Like you shouldn't feel afraid to call a judge if you don't know what's going on, or if you see something that like doesn't look quite right. It's important to just bring it to a judge's attention, let them know what happened. Maybe it's nothing, but they do keep track of that stuff, and the way that people who do cheat, the way that they're able to get away with things for so long is like people just go, nah, he didn't mean to do that, or like, we don't need to call a judge. It's just like takes a lot for somebody to actually get caught, and if you're not protecting yourself, then they're just going to keep doing it.
I totally agree with that sentiment. I get what you're saying with that. Yes, you should call a judge. No, Twitch chat shouldn't freak out because he called a judge. But I do think in this instance with Ari Lax,
Yeah, it was kind of the perfect storm.
He
the person who
he
it was.
is
But
absolutely right to have called a judge. He may not have been angle shooting, and he deserves every comment that says he was. Like, I literally think that's how that situation works. I mean,
I'm just staying out of that. I don't completely disagree with you, but I'm just saying.
I mean, he's a good Magic player. He's won a Pro Tour. He's done well, but his presence on social media and in his writing, I mean, he's not trying to hide it. He's that kind of player. I'm not saying he's not, I'm not calling him a cheater in any fashion. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But he has described himself as an angle shooter, as someone who will call the judge for those situations to try and get someone because he wants the rules to work only in his favor. And that's fine. He's been successful with it. But Twitch chat blowing up on him and people thinking that about him, he has earned that. So yes, you should call a judge. Yes, the judge should come in and check on that. Yes, that's how you catch cheaters. And yes, he's earned it.
I just wanted to focus on the actual when you should call a judge and
sure, yeah,
you feel okay.
I get it.
That's more what I wanted to focus on here. I didn't want to get on another side.
I apologize.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting, and yeah, don't be afraid to call judges. Basically, what it is.
Yeah, if you think something, if something has happened that is fishy, is suspicious, if something your opponent has done something that you find just weird, like if there's something that you are not paying attention to and something happens and you need clarification on it, call a judge. There's no shame in it. The judge will come over and help you rectify the situation one way or another, and you get a time extension. Like, there's no negative things for calling a judge. Like, that's what they're there for. They're there to help you understand and enforce the rules of the game.
I think there was a really good Twitter post today, too, from Ricky Hayashi, I believe is who it was. And he said something like, if you suspect that something's going on with your opponent, but you don't want it to be like an awkward situation, you can always call a judge and just kind of act like you have a rules question away from the table. And I think all of us here have done that before. You don't understand how an interaction works. You can kind of be like, "Oh, I just need to ask the judge something," and then you'd be like, "Hey, you know what? This guy, I don't know what's going on, but he's whatever. He keeps moving his graveyard around or whatever."
And this is true. I'll say for myself, having had an interaction like this recently, I'll mention slow play is something that's really hard and really awkward and feels like you are like I have a hard time calling judges for it because I do feel like it comes off aggressively. Like your opponent immediately goes, "What?" You know what I mean? And I don't think that's unjustified from the opponent. So I agree that method is a good way to get to talk to a judge, not really incite a confrontation if you feel that your opponent's going to be that way, which a lot of Magic players will be that way. I would also suggest the flip side lesson from the Ari Lax thing, and I won't back down from what I said. Like he still deserves it, but he also doesn't care what Twitch chat says. And nor should he. He does what he needs to do. And if you are literally worried about like the reaction of others around you, don't worry about it. You're trying to do what's right for you in your game of Magic. So that is the other part of that lesson to take away. Is like our Arlax certainly isn't losing any sleep because Twitch chat said he's a bad person. You know what I mean? Like I've definitely have been insulted on Twitch chat. Probably deserved it too. I'm not gonna back and look for the quotes, and I'm not like Jay and Silent Bob like getting a list of people to go find them. You know what I mean?
You show up at their doorstep.
Are you Magic Player 57 on Twitch? Yeah. Did you say this? Yeah. Punch him in the face. Like that's just what happens. So
yeah, I mean like. Exactly. Like you should be worried about like what others are gonna like think or say about you. Like if you're doing the right thing for you, and by calling a judge to get to rectify a situation in some way, shape, or form, then like again, you're doing the right thing. Cheaters prey upon people not doing the right thing, and you can't let yourself or your fellow player get taken advantage of. So if we are vigilant and we are, less, if we just judge less, judge each other less, then like the cheaters don't have much of a ground to, really stand on at that point in time. But I don't know. There's no shame in calling a judge. It's not a shameful thing. If you don't understand something, then understand it so you can win the game or not make a mistake.
I will say one more thing with that though, as a caveat. If the judge tells you you're wrong, respect that.
Yeah.
Like I've seen plenty of people who get very upset when the judge does not rule in their favor, because they believe something. Listen to them. You know what I mean? As someone who has judged an event, I'm certainly not like omniscient or omnipotent. You know what I mean? I like to pretend that I am, but I will have to go and search for things, and I will question things. But at the end of the day, like you put your faith in in that impartial moderator when you enter the tournament, and if you have no intention of respecting them or your opponent, then don't play.
Yeah.
So,
and there are instances where sometimes there is an appeal that needs to happen, but once you get that final ruling, I think then you can respect that, and not all judge calls need appealed either. It just be reasonable. I know that is a tough thing to ask for people sometimes, but be reasonable. You can do it. I believe in you. All right. Before we head into the wrap up here, I definitely give a shout out to BCW Supplies, one of the other sponsors for our show. They have a huge selection of TCG, TCG accessories. That's the word I was thinking of. TCG accessories, amongst other things. You should really check out their website. They really have anything for the collector.
I cannot tell you how often I am surprised by when I look at something and it says BCW on the bottom. And that's not a joke. Like I was at a FYE, which I know, FYE, but
does this still exist?
Yes,
they do. They're essentially big Spencers now. I should probably stop saying corporate names, but
they're less racy Spencers.
That's true. But like I was looking at like record stuff, and they had all these record protectors. This BCW Supplies. I was like, oh man, like so it was just like
like those 4-row boxes.
Yeah.
On top
I mean,
of
so if you are a player of Magic, you might be a collector of other things. We tend to kind of run in packs, as it were. So definitely check out the website bcwsupplies.com for all of your collecting needs, as well as your deck boxes, your sleeves, what have you. Definitely buy them from them. And thank you to BCW Supplies. All right, wrap up. GP Cleveland.
Go ahead.
That's what's happening this weekend.
Yeah.
As well as GP Sydney, but I'm not going to that one, so.
Don't want to go down under?
I mean, I'd like to go to Sydney.
Sail to the edge of the world and then go under. You flip like Vraska to get to that one.
So
that's so good.
So going to Sydney, going to Australia would be great if the spiders didn't have like health bars. They aren't like RPG spiders. So they aren't all 2/4s with reach. Rather not have that.
A lot of them have death touch.
A lot of them do have death touch. A lot of them are like the recluses. The 1/3, the green Doomblade.
There you go.
I forget what it is. Dang. Anyway, that's what happened over the weekend. As far as Magic big tournaments are concerned, and Mike and I and Katie are going to be going to GB Cleveland. We're all very excited. It was supposed to be GB Columbus. We can't forget that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be GB Columbus. I wasn't going to have to, travel out of my home city. I was going to go be able to just drive downtown, have a good time. But Cleveland's fine. Cleveland's okay. I know that, that is near where, you're from in Ohio. So
we have a place to stay and there's good food around there. And I will say I was at the convention center this last weekend for Origins. And I will say what I've seen of the convention center, it's going to be worth it. It looks really nice.
I fully believe it. It is a shame we're missing out some Magic tournaments, but whatever. GP Cleveland's going to be fun. It's team sealed. Both of the and Sydney are team sealed. So, and Amoket is fun. It is, I think, a format with a lot of depth. I don't think it's necessarily been figured out as a lot of people claim it to be.
It seems like a really good team format too.
Yeah,
I have very limited experience. I played
very limited experience.
Very limited experience. But yeah, like it seemed like, it's not just, this person has X color deck, this person has X color deck, and then, it seems like there's a lot of different combinations you can do.
Awesome. All right, Mike, what did you have to say?
I want to make mention of, and this is kind of a down note, and I apologize, but apologies to the Indianapolis area Magic players. They had another loss in their community. And
I did see this.
Scott Bonnell, and I honestly have interacted with that. This is a guy I've known and had a lot of conversations with. Really, really nice guy.
I saw him at Louisville.
Yeah, he came and talked to us at Louisville. He was an L1 judge, and just like there's been an outpouring of a lot of people just being like, "Wow, this is." And he passed away in a car accident, and that's upsetting. There is. they are putting together a memorial tournament for him. I said Indianapolis Magic Community because he played a lot out there, but he's actually from Ohio.
Yeah.
The Antwerp is actually where it's from. So they are putting together a memorial tournament for him, which is going to be on July 1st. Frustrating that date because we're going to be in Roanoke because I would be interested in going to this. But I will tweet out more information about that if you're interested. They are raising money for costs for his family. So if that's something you're interested in donating to, and or a tournament you're interested in playing in,
Do so. Yeah.
So,
All right. Anything else going on that we want to talk about for the weekend or anything like that? No. Pretty short wrap up. So that's pretty good. So of course, thank you for downloading our show. However you got it, if you got it through iTunes, please leave us a review. We really do appreciate it. Helps us with visibility. And if you got us from MTG Cast, make sure you take a look at some of the other shows that are on there. Plenty of them for whatever you like to do in Magic. It's there. Also, plenty of ways to reach out to us via social media. So we have a Twitter account. It's just Your End Step. So you can, do a search. And when you add us, it's at Your End Step. We're very clever. We also have a Facebook, facebook.com/@YourEndStep. Pretty easy. And then email @YourEndStep@gmail.com. Of course, we have a Patreon now. So if you, want to take a look at potentially, throwing some support our way, we, first of all, appreciate it. If you do don't not donate, but if you do sign up to be a patron, you definitely are one of the sponsors of the show, and we appreciate you so very much. I do want to give a shout out to one of our new patrons and an old friend of ours, Matthew S. So we appreciate you. We wish the best of luck to your Islanders in the next NHL season. And you are never you're never far from our hearts, I would like to say. And we miss you.
It's been too long.
We miss you.
We'll come visit you.
Don't wish that upon him, Katie. I'm sure he's perfectly fine with us staying in Ohio. He's paying us to stay away.
Here's what I'll say. I hope that Vegas doesn't take a good player from you in the expansion draft. I knew a hockey thing, and that's for you, bud. That's for you.
That's for you. So shout outs to Matt. We miss you. But that is going to be everything for this week for At Your End Step. We'll catch you guys next week, and you have a great one. Bye.